So, something ominous is going on in the mines. The 30 of you guys who watched this video know something about that. In this video, it's time to unveil more about whatever is going on, and not only that, it's time to start building the entrance of the mines. So, before we get into a lot of time lapses, my questionable commentary, and some more lore, get your blue milk in a comfy chair and let's jump into it. So, before I start building the actual entrance, I built this little miniature of my mock. The mock is going to be 96 studs by 80 studs, which translates to 2 48 by 48 base plates and 3 32 by 32s. In the back right corner, I'll have the main entrance to the mines, which will be a triangle-shaped hole in the corner of a mountain. In the front left, there will be a temporary military base that was set up to watch the entrance. I'll have a bunch of mobile buildings and a parking lot for vehicles. Then I'll have a bit of forest in the other corners and a lot of open ground in the middle for later posing figures and vehicles. Now that y'all know what the build is going to look like, we can start working on it. Now, I just want to put it out there. I literally do not have space for all of my base plates to be laid out at once. My filming area is just a 48 by 48, which is not enough to show what the whole build is going to look like, so y'all get one 48 by 48 at once. Now, I'm going to be buying a table hopefully soon, so hopefully by episode 2 we'll be able to actually see the whole thing laid out together, or at least most of it laid out together, and then the build angles will be way better, but for now, y'all are going to have to deal with this. As y'all can see on screen, I'm starting off by raising up the area under the entrance of the mines. I want there to be a slight hill up to it, but nothing too much. I also want to point out that this time lapse is anywhere from 16 to 32 times sped up, and it honestly surprised me to see how much my time gets turned into a brief time lapse. I had always assumed that the big YouTubers who did build time lapses didn't take too long on what was being built on screen, but over the course of this video, you were going to see hours of my work in minutes. With that random note aside, I can go back to yapping about the build. So I made the entrance 12 studs tall, which is just big enough to fit in light trucks or tanks and let similarly sized enemy builds out. I think ideally I would have to make the entrance bigger, but I'm also working with what parts I have and what I can budget to buy. All along the sides of the entrance, I got to have my first go at rock work, which turned out to be not as hard as I thought it would be, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. It's basically just placing slopes and anti-slopes down in random places until it looks good. Next I spun the build around and started cleaning up the back of it. Along the right side I built up the wall as well as adding some slopes to the bottom and top of it so I can have a nicely shaped hole in the side of the mock to allow for some interior. Then it was time to add the back wall to the gaping hole in the mountain. I debated having no wall behind it and trying to actually have a legitimate entrance into something, but when I realized just how many more parts I would need to have an interior rockwork of that scale, I decided that a wall of black bricks was the easier alternative. I did offset the black wall 4 studs into the mountain to at least give a little bit of depth to the entrance, so it's not just an entrance jammed up against the wall of black. So here's a good look at my rockwork. I think that it definitely is a little bit patchy in some places, but then it's also my first large-scale rockwork. When I get to the other side of the mountain, as well as the top of the mountain, I'll have some practice, so hopefully it should look a little better. Next, I worked a little bit on the roof of the first part of the mountain, and just for this episode, I built the upper rockwork to be the height of a minifigure. I also laid down some dark green parts on top of the mountain to make a little path. Next, I did some building off camera and added some details to the mock, as well as a little bit of rockwork. And here is a finished product for episode 1. I made a lot of progress this first episode, mostly because I didn't want to leave you guys with a tiny bit of work done on the first episode. This is just the back right corner of the mock, and it's not even finished yet. As you can see, I finished the front of the mountain, and I've started a bit on the side. On the upper section, I still have a ton of work to do. On the back side of the mock, I've done very little, but hopefully this look at it will give you an idea of the space I'm working with, and later I'll do some interior rockwork and have some of the enemy inside it. With that out of the way, we can set up a little battle on it and talk a bit about what's going on with these mines. So, the military has arrived. After the mines fell silent, a small force went in to check it out and never returned. The military has just got to the mines, and they've received orders to proceed with caution and to set up a temporary base. What with the small numbers of what's left of Earth's military, the base is small with a skeleton crew. As they begin to work on setting up the camp, something is feeling off. Editor's note. This battle actually never happened, I just set it up for fun, this is not part of my real storyline. Well, that's pretty much a wrap for this short video. Don't expect episode 2 to come out too soon, as I will need to acquire the parts and then apply them before I can make the next episode. Do stay tuned for my next video, in which I have a fun vehicle planned for my military that I just finished. Until my next video everyone, stay creative and go build something.